What's up YouTube? This is Victor on the Let Me Explain show, and today I'm going to do a very quick demonstration of how I printed this t-shirt. So as you all know, this is uh, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, our late former Supreme uh, Court Justice judge, and I made this t-shirt just to give away to friends and family, and I've had some people ask me how I made it, so that's what we're gonna go into today. And I will go into what you need for this whole process. And since I'm printing on a dark surface, I'm going to use an opaque paint, fabric paint, that is fabric ink. So this is actually opaque. It has a nice solid feel to it. The only thing about it, it has a gold sparkle. It has a sparkle shimmery feel to it that you might not like. So do test it out, see if that's what you're going for. If not, then you could go for other products like plastics. And this is by Speedball, obviously. Then we're gonna need our screen. This is our screen like I showed before. Again, Speedball produces these. They come ready stretched, or you can just buy the frame and stretch it yourself. I recommend just buying it framed, stretched, sorry. And then finally, no, not finally, then we also have a squeegee, which is a rubber tipped little gadget with a wooden handle to it, and this is what I'll use to spread the ink. I have a spatula. This is not anything special, it's just to scoop up the paint. So I use this regular kitchen spatula that I use for my art. And if you're doing this on your kitchen table like I am for a quick demo, you might need this. And this is what I'll use to place my screen on so it doesn't lay on the table flat, making it dirty or making the table dirty. That being said, let's get straight into it. I must preempt that because I haven't printed with this screen for a while. The first one, I'm going to break it through. So what I mean by that is I'm going to do a couple of pulls, but once it's opened up, then I will just do one firm pull on each part since I'm using quite a small squeegee. All right, so first of all, what you want to do is make sure your ink is well mixed. I'm going to be doing a couple of t-shirts, but I like to be conservative with how much ink I put down on the screen, because as you can see, I haven't blocked off my edges, so it might bleed into that. And I've blocked the other side, so I'm pretty safe from that, but I don't want too much of it. So that's how I apply it. This would be enough to print about 2 t-shirts. Then with the extra ink, I don't just let this lie. This is pretty fast drying, so it's best to clean off your instruments as much as possible. And also, every little bit helps, so cleaning it up and storing it is a good idea. Now, since this is not on a hinge, what I'll need to do is make sure it doesn't move. And how I usually do that is when I press down really firm, get it to a 45-degree angle, gently pull it across, lift, then do the same to the part of the design. Then I'll do the run again. Like I said, since I'm breaking it in, just want to make sure it's all nicely broken in. Now the problem with overrunning it is it might bleed and mess up the design, so just be aware of that. It might be wise to do the breaking in on a piece of paper so that you're not wasting a t-shirt in case it gets ruined. If you're using a small squeegee, always make sure you get the corners, because those may be blind spots you might miss. Now what I want to do is quickly show you something I always tell my students about. Every milliliter of ink matters. So what you want to do is take your squeegee, put it on the edge, and then just run it through like that. That's about good enough. Then I'll take my spatula, but since I'm using this again, I don't need to clean it up. I'll completely clean it up once I'm done with the process. So now the reveal. Hold down your t-shirt on one end. Sorry, you can't see my hand, but it's holding down the open part. Then slowly, really slowly peel it off. And that's our result. Now this isn't a perfect print because I can see that some areas got too much ink on them, but generally it works okay. It works okay. We're gonna go ahead and do a second print, and this time I'll have my mouth shut. Make sure your hands are clean at all times, because that's pretty obvious. Might ruin a t-shirt just like that. Okay, trying to keep this video under 10 minutes, so it's a bit of a hurry. Okay, and when positioning, I always want to make sure that it's the center of the screen matches the center of the label. So you might want to mark off where the center of your screen is, like that. Okay, so we're gonna go into the second run. The first thing I'll do is I'll bring all my ink up. And then just bring it down again. Okay, it looks like I've run out of ink now because I scooped some back into the container. That's not a problem. We'll just scoop a little bit more out. Put that there. And then we go ahead and finish off, because this area didn't receive much ink. This time I'm going to flood it a little bit, then you'll see the result of it. And by flooding it, I mean, okay, let me just go through it first, then I'll explain. Okay, I'm now going to flood where the lettering is. And when I flood it, I still hold it at an angle, but I don't apply as much pressure over it as I did with the rest of the parts. This part I will not flood, so we can see the difference. Okay, all right, then peel. So this part that I flooded, two things happened. Some of the areas are fine, some of the areas lost ink. That's because the ink on the screen actually pulls up the ink on the t-shirt. So you want to be aware of that. And also this area lost ink. This is the part I missed with the squeegee. So before you pull up the screen, always make sure you don't have areas like this happening there. All right, that one was a bit of a doozy. Unfortunately, if you're doing this commercially and you've got a commission, you're paying for this because you're not going to give a customer something like this. It's totally a waste. So be very careful when doing this process. You might bleed money. Now for the last couple of prints, I'm just going to show the versatility when you have the screen already. I'm going to do it on board. And this makes great posters. I didn't measure it before I got it. Yeah, it is big enough. But I'm not sure of the scale, so I'm going to wing it a little bit over here. You might want to measure it out since I'm just demonstrating, I didn't bother to. Now with paper it's different because the pressure you will apply is going directly onto the surface, and there is a lot of resistance because this is not fabric. So you must get used to, with trial and error, you get used to how much pressure you should apply. I'm going to go with medium pressure for this one. Now, with an experienced eye, you can see that there are areas that are missing ink, and these are the ones that look like patches in there. I'm just going to go back in there. As you can see, the patch moved. I'm going to go over it one more time. Oh, this is really... Now, what I like about this, if you're doing artsy posters, those parts with missed ink actually look pretty cool. Gives it that old feel to it. Right? Now this is the fun part, because this time it's stuck onto the screen. So I'm going to peel it from the bottom. Didn't work at all. Did not work at all. So what I need to do is actually flood the screen a lot, have a lot more ink to it. And this is what you get when the screen moves also. You get that ghosting effect. So that's a total doozy. That didn't work at all. I'm going to give it quite a bit of ink because I don't want to put too much pressure on it. And I want the ink to glide right through. Okay, nice firm press. We're just going to go over this once. That's so much better. So much better. Still, I missed it over here. And also the centering wasn't right. So what I would do in this case is I would use a mounted screen. I would mount the screen on a board so that it has a lever system and it stays locked in one position. Then I would give it, I would register where it prints like this by printing on a piece of paper. Mark that off, and then I will have an area where I place my print so that it's not misregistered. All right, that's been Victor on the Let Me Explain show. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Have a good one.